7 years have passed since Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker stumbled its way into movie theaters, and in the years since, Star Wars has lived almost entirely on the small screen, albeit with wildly uneven results. From shows as transcendent as Andor, as disappointing as The Book of Boba Fett, and as harmlessly entertaining as Skeleton Crew, throughout all of it there has been one constant. The show that launched the Disney Plus era of the franchise, and by any honest accounting, saved Star Wars' relationship with its audience. That has been The Mandalorian. Jon Favreau's neo-Western pulp serial reminded audiences of something the sequel trilogy eventually forgot. That Star Wars is, at its best, a genre exercise elevated by emotional truth. A space western, a space samurai film, a space fairy tale. And The Mandalorian and Grogu brings that sensibility to the big screen. The result is exactly what it should be. The film opens with a James Bond-inflected cold open, Din Djarin and Grogu dispatching AT-AT walkers and snowtroopers with kinetic efficiency. Before their new mission is handed down by Colonel Ward, played by Sigourney Weaver with the kind of effortless authority that makes you wish the film had given her considerably more to do. The central assignment involves the Hutt crime syndicate and a rescue operation involving Rotta the Hutt, Jabba's son voiced with unexpected warmth by Jeremy Allen White, and depicted here as a buff gladiatorial figure whose fundamental decency is a deliberate inversion of everything his father represented. Rhoda could have been pure fan service, but instead he becomes a legitimate emotional presence in the film, a being defined by the weight of a father's legacy he has spent his life trying not to inherit. The thematic resonance with Din Djarin's own relationship to his Mandalorian code, and with Grogu's relationship to the Jedi tradition he was trained in and then chose to leave, is not accidental. Favreau has always understood that the best Star Wars stories are about what we inherit and what we choose. And then there's Grogu himself, the film's greatest achievement and its most sophisticated narrative choice. He is obviously an astonishing creation of puppeteering, the most purely lovable figure the franchise has produced since R2-D2, but the film doesn't just rely on his cuteness. It gives him the spotlight for a substantial portion of its running time, to carry the film's deeper themes on his small shoulders. His sequences alongside the mechanically gifted Anzellans, tiny excitable engineers who become unexpected allies, demonstrate that Grogu is not merely a mascot, he's a co-protagonist, capable of driving action and generating genuine tension, without the benefit of dialogue or a human face to read. In a film called The Mandalorian and Grogu, the Grogu half fully earns its place in the title. Pedro Pascal's voice performance anchors everything, and the film finds a reason to remove his helmet for a stretch, satisfying audience desires to see Pascal's face, while maintaining the dramatic integrity of a character whose armored anonymity is fundamental to who he is. It's a neat solution to a tension the show has navigated carefully for years. But the weaknesses here are real. The Imperial Remnant storyline, which gestures towards the larger connective tissue linking this film to Ahsoka Season 2 and Dave Filoni's eventual crossover, is introduced with genuine intrigue, but then somewhat hurriedly set aside. There's a version of this film that might have been a little more patient with its geopolitical dimensions within the Star Wars universe, and that version might have been slightly more satisfying. But these are the complaints of someone who wanted more of something good, which is a very different category of complaint from most of what Star Wars has generated over the past several years. Star Wars The Mandalorian and Grogu is a film that knows precisely what it is, a pulp adventure in the tradition of the serials that inspired George Lucas in the first place, populated by strange creatures, unlikely alliances, and a father and son relationship at its center that the franchise has been building ever since that small green hand first reached out to connect with an armored bounty hunter. The moment that stays with me most isn't an action sequence, it's a quieter scene in which Grogu is given a moment of genuine autonomy, a choice to make, a risk, a demonstration that the found family forged between these two unlikely beings has made each of them more than they could have ever been alone. The old protect the young, and then the young protect the old. Star Wars has said this before, just in different words and different contexts. This is the way. With Star Wars Ahsoka Season 2 arriving early next year, and Dave Filoni's eventual crossover film beyond that, Star Wars The Mandalorian and Grogu is the next major step in what feels like a genuine new chapter for this franchise. Not a franchise reset, not an apology for what came before, just a filmmaker who loves Star Wars, making the kind of Star Wars story he has always wanted to tell on the biggest screen available. And it feels, for the first time in 7 years, like coming home to the galaxy far, far away. Star Wars The Mandalorian and Grogu is in theaters now, and if you're still following Star Wars, there's no reason not to go see it. And if you already have, let me know in the comments. What was your favorite moment? Are you ready for where this era of Star Wars goes next in Ahsoka Season 2? And don't forget to subscribe to Fandom Frontline for more deep dives into the stories that shape our fandom.